What's up, everybody? We are back. John Delarose here, delarose.com. That's DELARROZ.com. And you can head to the link in my description below where I've got my newsletter. Get a free science fiction novel, a free steampunk novella, and a free superhero graphic novel. Can't beat that price of admission. All of those are sort of beginnings of things. Well, I guess the novel's not so much, but the others are beginnings of things where you can actually go and read whole series of awesome science fiction, awesome comics, where we're truly making the culture great again. And I hope you'll check it out. Hit the like and subscribe button while we're at it too, because we're getting really close to the 2,000 mark. I'm going to do a giveaway stream at 2,000 where I'll give away some neat stuff, not just my own books, but some stuff from my library, because I want people to be able to check out the stuff that I like to read too. And that's it. So this is a pretty interesting article from Vile 770, the fakest of fake news. But sometimes they actually report what's going down. And if you look at the trend of the last 3 Worldcons, gosh, it's a Schadenfreude sort of situation going on here. Because for those who don't know, Worldcon in 2018 banned me because I was receiving death threats from people who were going to be attending Worldcon. And I, asked them about security precautions, and they refused to respond. And so I started blogging about how they refused to respond and like, what could I do about this? I guess I'll bring some people. I'll wear a body cam so people can't just attack me without evidence. I'm not going to be bullied out of a space. And so I would take precautions against that since they refused to. And so they went off and went nuts and libeled me on their website, calling me a racist bully, and which is ridiculous because most of the Worldcon staff are white and I'm Hispanic, as we all know. So it was a really thinly veiled political shot that was libelous against me. Really, really awful stuff. And it was a retaliatory move because I was whistleblowing on the fact that they weren't going to protect authors depending on their political persuasion with their security. And that's kind of crazy. So that's the world we live in today. Everything's political and it's really upsetting. And I wish it wasn't. And you see the results of this now, because if it wasn't political and we could all just have fun, all enjoy science fiction together, we would have tens of thousands of people at Worldcon just like we used to. I remember the first Worldcon I went to was in 2006, and it was in Anaheim, California. You just walk through everywhere. It was super busy, like a Comic-Con almost. I've been to lots of San Diego Comic-Cons, and a lot of fun. You just walk down the hallway. You run into greats like Harlan Ellison or Anne McCaffrey. A lot of those greats aren't with us anymore. And this new generation of talentless hacks that they've kind of propped up have only been installed where they're at because of different, identities. They try to out woke each other and out victim each other. And that's the only way to get ahead in today's science fiction world. So needless to say, there's not a lot of families going out, checking out the latest, transgender, whatever science fiction stuff and seeing what these authors have to say about anything, because nobody really cares. And then, of course, they ban the people like me who are actual talented people in the science fiction field so that they don't have to acknowledge that there's better work than theirs out that people actually want to read. Really sick situation. But that's what we've got. And we can go into a lot of stuff about Worldcons that have diminished things over time. But again, it's just not caring about the audience. It's a bunch of weird people who have taken over. And so they've ostracized normal people in an effort to, quote, be inclusive is always what they talk about. Normal people used to be the people who read science fiction books. I can't tell you how many times I get emails from readers, or even I'm just hanging out with parents, down the street. They're like, "Oh, I read your science fiction novel." And I hadn't read a science fiction novel since the 1980s. Everything got kind of weird, and I stopped doing it, and I just didn't like them anymore. But you really bring back that feel. And I'm like, I know exactly what you're talking about. So the refusal to actually care about your actual target audience, your actual normal people in society, just eventually makes you spiral into this group of insular people who are worse and worse and worse and crazier and crazier and crazier, until all you're left with is your boomers who used to remember the glory days, who are, weird, 300-pound diabetic, mentally ill people showing up to these things in like their little scooters. It kind of reminds you of Wall-E, of all the humans who were like, can't even lift a finger because they're so degenerated. When you walk down Worldcons, aisleways, it really feels like that at this point. And with the pandemic going on, those people aren't really doing as well as, say, a fit person like myself, right? It just is what it is. So look at the numbers here. This is the fun part. We've got double in 2019. And to be fair, the double in 2019 people, when I talked to them, were a lot more sane than the people in 2018. I just was, personally, I wasn't going to fly out to a foreign country, and risk some sort of incident. I just can't do that with a family, with these weird people again. So, I thought about it for a second, and I decided it would not be in the best interests of anything at this point. But you looked and you see there are 3,751 attending members at this point, and which are the people who actually, I guess, go to the con, or at least pay for the ability to go to the con. Supporting, which is just it's a bizarre thing. You get some free literature, and you get to vote in the Hugo Awards, basically. So that's that right there. About 700. Notice the supportings kind of stay the same. So the people who are trying to influence the awards, which are usually just employees of Tor Books or reviewers who are tied in with this industry because they like to set the agenda for what books there are. It's all very rigged. These stay about the same, but what's really drastically gone is the attendance, because these are the people who actually are the fans who care about these things, and there's just not many of them anymore. So you've gone from 4,200. And I believe the one before this was much higher than that, down to 2,400. So we've got a 50%-ish drop, and we've got a full 50%-ish drop here. So you lost the bulk of people between 2018, 2019, and then 2020. Of course, now we've got a pandemic. I don't even know that their target audience of people are even alive anymore. I don't think they'll ever come back at this juncture. They've slid into irrelevancy. When you get into these numbers, it's going to go down so far that it's really an ugly thing. And it's sad because they could really turn this around pretty quickly, make it more consumer focused, make it more family friendly, just get rid of all the crazy identity politics, which just makes everybody upset all the time. But they won't do that. They actually want to cater more towards that. And, people just don't want to go to it at the end of the day. So more opportunity for us in our cultural movement, where we're all about fun. We're all about family. We're all about good times. And you can go to my bookstore here and grab any of my science fiction novels right here. So you just go sci-fi novel, check it out, get this perk, and you can pick one of these. I really recommend The Stars Entwined, because this is my series I'm really building off of right now. And you just go continue to payment. And if you want one or more books, it's very easy also. So there's a bunch of add-ons here. So if you want to get a comic book with that, or a graphic novel with that, or one of my steampunk novels with that, you could do so just by clicking again, adding that to the cart. Very good stuff. I'll sign them for you. I'll send them out today if you get them today. So make sure to do that and support the channel, support great fiction and culture that's going to be replacing the nonsense that these guys are doing over here. All right. Hit that like and subscribe button. Let me know what you think. Of course, they're making excuses, but there will not be a good trajectory for these Worldcons for the future. I can tell you that right now. See you guys soon.